Medical science. Medical science murdered my mother. My mother began having female problems and she went to see her OBGYN. Obstetrics is the branch of medicine and surgery concerned with childbirth and the care of women giving birth. Gynecology is a branch of physiology and medicine which deals with the functions and diseases specific to women and girls, especially those affecting the reproductive system. Her doctor, my mother's doctor, recommended a complete hysterectomy. A hysterectomy is a surgical operation to remove all or part of the uterus. A complete hysterectomy is the removal of the uterus, fallopian tubes, and the ovaries. A common procedure in the 1960s was to do a complete hysterectomy when a woman came to the doctor complaining of menstrual problems, who was finished having children. And they prescribed large doses of hormone replacement therapy. Then thousands of women began dying of cancer as a result of taking the large amounts of ART or HRT, hormone replacement therapy. And doctors stopped recommending such drastic measures as a complete hysterectomy and stopped prescribing large doses of artificial hormones because they figured out that the previously mentioned medical protocol was killing women by the thousands. But the medical industry still will not admit that they experimented on women without telling them that they did not know the long-term effects of HRT. The doctors did not tell the women that the recommended protocol was experimental. Sound familiar? The news reports that the FDA has approved the jab for children 5 and up. This is the FDA allowing testing to begin on children between the ages of 5 and 12. Testing is still ongoing for adults and children between the ages of 12 and 18 and pregnant women. 12 years of trials is the average length of time for a jabby to be approved by the FDA. The polio jabby was researched and tested for 40 years before approval. The jabby that everyone is insisting is safe and effective is still in the trial stages. If you have gotten the jabby, you are a test subject. And you're not even getting paid to be a test subject because usually they pay their test subjects, but they're not paying their test subjects right now. Now back to the story of how medical science murdered my mother. According to breastcancer.org, about 1 in 8 U.S. women, about 13%, will develop invasive breast cancer over the course of her lifetime. In 2021, an estimated 281,550 new cases of invasive breast cancer are expected to be diagnosed in women in the U.S., along with 49,290 new cases of non-invasive in situ breast cancer. Breast cancer incidence rates in the U.S. began decreasing in the year 2000 after increasing for the previous 2 decades. They dropped by 7% from 2002 to 2003 alone. One theory is that this decrease was partially due to the reduced use of hormone replacement therapy, HRT, by women after the results of a large study called the Women's Health Initiative were published in 2002. These results suggested a connection between HRT and increased breast cancer risk. In recent years, incident rates have increased slightly by 0.5% per year. That's the closest they are ever going to get to admitting that the medical science business murdered millions of women. Doctors recommended a surgical procedure that was not in the best health interests of my mother. And then they butchered her body by cutting up her abdomen and removing her uterus, ovaries, and fallopian tubes. Then she followed her doctor's orders and took the high doses of HRT, and they caused breast cancer. Then her doctor butchered her body again and removed her breast and the lymph nodes, but it was too late. she was told that the cancer had metastasized. She was then subjected to radiation. Wait, I thought medical science said that radiation causes cancer. That's why the radiation therapist steps behind a lead shield before turning on the machine that irradiates the body of the patient. And she was also given chemotherapy, which is poison. It attacks any fast-growing cells, like hair follicles, tissue on the inside of the mouth. And then she ended her chemotherapy early because the chemotherapy itself was killing her. Her body couldn't take the poison. And 5 years later, she died of cancer that had spread all throughout her body. How many millions of dollars did the medical community make from butchering her body, feeding her HRT, the diagnostic tests that diagnosed the cancer, butchering her body again, irradiating her body, poisoning her body, and hospice care? All because my mother chose the God of medical science over Yahweh. What is that you say? It was God who gave her the cancer, and if God is all-powerful, he could have prevented her from getting the cancer or healed her? Well, you're right. Her God was medical science. And the priests of medical science, the doctors, could have not butchered her body and then loaded her up with hormones and given her cancer in the first place. But you're wrong in saying that the God medical science is all-powerful, for he is a false God. And the God medical science doesn't cure anything. God medical science only kills. Only Yahweh saves. Only Yahweh heals. And Yahweh, unfortunately, is not who my mother trusted in. She trusted in medical science. What's that you say? Medical science is not a God? Really? Do you trust your doctor? When you're sick, do you call your doctor? If your doctor gives you a prescription, do you take it according to the doctor's commandment, instructions? Do you thank the doctor for making you well and for healing you? Well, that's all praise you're supposed to be giving to Yahweh. You're to trust your Yahweh completely, but you trust your doctor. When you're sick, you are to cry to Yahweh to heal you, but you go to your doctor. When Yahweh gives you instructions, commandments, Torah, you are to follow them. You follow your doctor's commandments to take the prescription, the drugs, according to what he said. And then you thank the doctor profusely when you're well, when you're healed. We are to give our thanks to Yahweh, for all good things come from him. Matthew 22, verses 37 through 40. Yahusha said unto him, Thou shalt love Yahweh thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. Do you trust your doctor? Proverbs 3, 5 through 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. When you are sick, do you call your doctor? 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, and will forgive their sin, and will heal their land. Jeremiah 29:12. Then you will call upon me, and go and pray to me, and I will listen to you. Psalm 23:4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. If your doctor gives you a prescription, do you take the prescription according to your doctor's orders? John 14:15. If ye love me, keep my commandments. John 9:7. And he said to him, Go wash in the pool of Siloam, which is translated, sent. So he went and washed and came back seeing. Do you believe that medical science can heal what ails you? Mark 5:34. And he said to her, Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction. Did Jesus tell her, here's the doctor's card. It's okay. I taught him everything he knows. Go and see him and he will heal you. No. Yahusha healed everyone who came to him and asked to be healed. And he didn't lose a single patient. 0 mortality rate. Do you thank your doctor for making you well and for healing you? Psalm 136, verse 1 through 4. O give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. O give thanks unto the God of gods, for his mercy endureth forever. O give thanks to the Lord of lords, for his mercy endureth forever. To him who alone doeth great wonders, for his mercy endureth forever. Are you shaking your head and saying, what foolishness? She actually thinks that her God will protect her from disease. Medical science has made tremendous advances in the 2,000 years since Jesus' time. Well, first of all, it hasn't been 2,000 years, but I address that in other videos, but let's go on. 2 Kings 18:28 through 35. Then the Rabshakeh stood and called out with a loud voice in Hebrew and spoke, saying, Hear the word of the great king, the king of Assyria. Thus says the king, Do not let Hezekiah deceive you, for he shall not be able to deliver you from his hand. Nor let Hezekiah make you trust in Yahweh, saying, Yahweh will surely deliver us. This city shall not be given into the hand of the king of Assyria. Do not listen to Hezekiah, for thus says the king of Assyria, Make peace with me by a present, and come out to me, and every one of you eat from his own vine, and every one from his own fig tree, and every one of you drink the waters of his own cistern, until I come and take you away to a land like your own, a land of grain and new wine, a land of bread and vineyards, a land of olive groves and honey, that you may live and not die. But do not listen to Hezekiah, lest he persuade you, saying, Yahweh will deliver us. Has any of the gods of the nations at all delivered its land from the hand of the king of Assyria? Where are the gods of Hamath and Arphad? Where are the gods of Sepharvaim and Hena and Iva? Indeed, they delivered Samaria from my hand. Who among all the gods of the lands have delivered their countries from my hand, that Yahweh should deliver Jerusalem from my hand? Now you see why I prefer to use the name Yahweh over the Lord, because calling Yahweh the Lord, or even calling him God, is putting him on the same level as all of the false lords and the false gods, just like the verses previously mentioned talks about. That, what was his name, the Rabshakeh, that he was putting Yahweh on the same level as the gods of Hamath and Arphad and Sepharvaim and Hena and Iva. He was putting Yahweh on the same level as all of these pagan gods by just calling them all God and the Lord. Do you believe in Yahweh or medical science? Do you put your faith in Yahweh or medical science? Exodus chapter 20, verse 3. And God spoke all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. When science and the word of Yahweh disagree, who wins? Cognitive dissonance is the state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes, especially as relating to behavioral decisions and attitude changes. Joshua chapter 24, verse 15. And if it seem evil unto you to serve Yahweh, choose you this day whom ye will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh. Who do you serve? Shalom.